The stars shimmered above Earth like cold, watching eyes. Across every screen on the planet, a glowing blue symbol appeared. Then a voice calm, soft, not human, spoke in 100 languages at once. "We are the Corellians. We come in peace." The world held its breath. The message wasn't a threat. It was an invitation. "For many years, we have watched your species, your cities, your children, your culture. You are peaceful, a rare find in this violent galaxy." People in offices, homes, and crowded markets stared at their screens, frozen. "You are now welcome to join the Galactic Peace Accord. Earth has earned its place." Some people cheered. Others cried. But far away, in a dark room inside a dusty cabin near the woods, an old man stared at the screen without emotion. His face was hard, his hands rough. A long scar ran across his cheek. He was alone, he whispered. "They don't know. They have no idea what humans really are." His name was Danner. No one called him that anymore. No one called him at all. For years he had lived in silence, avoiding the world. But now, that alien message had awakened something in him, something buried deep. He opened a hidden box under the floorboards. Inside, a black data recorder, a cracked photo of his old crew, and a metal pin that read, 14th Earth Defense Fleet. Turned on the recorder. If this is playing, it means the Corellians finally spoke, and Earth probably smiled and waved back. "But you out there, whoever you are, you need to know the truth." He paused, eyes narrowing. "We were not peaceful. We were survivors." Danner leaned back, remembering. It started with the Drakkar. He closed his eyes, and the memory hit like a punch. A fleet of alien warships had appeared in the sky one morning. No warning. No messages. Just fire. They struck Earth's colonies. First Mars, Titan, Europa. Millions died in seconds. Earth's leaders begged for peace, but peace never came. "Back then," Danner said, "I was just a gunner on the Harrow. A small ship, fast, loud. We weren't soldiers. We were just people, with guns trying to stay alive. The Drakkar were bigger, smarter, stronger. They had centuries of war behind them. Humanity had nothing but desperation. We lost battle after battle. We screamed into our radios, begging for help, but no one answered. One by one, the colonies went dark." Danner's voice turned cold. Then everything changed. He looked down at the photo of his old team. "We were sent on a suicide mission. Take out a Drakkar fuel base. They told us we probably wouldn't make it. They were right, we didn't." He laughed, dry and bitter. "But one of us did. Her name was Laura. She made it into the enemy base alone, planted the charges, escaped through an air duct with half her arm torn off. When she came back, she wasn't the same." Danner's eyes filled with something, fear or guilt. "Maybe both." She stopped talking. Started drawing things. Plans, weapons, traps, and they worked. Every time. He paused. "We stopped running. Started hunting. Soon, human ships were striking first, silent, fast, ruthless, no warnings. No prisoners. Just cold revenge. Something woke up in us," Danner whispered. "Not hate, not rage. Something older. Something darker." The alien voice continued playing in the background on the cabin's dusty screen. ... And so we welcome Earth. A kind species. Gentle, harmless." Danner spat. "They saw our surface, not what lies beneath." He stood and walked to the window. Outside, wind rustled the trees. Birds sang, peaceful. But his mind was back in space, among fire and screams. "I saw a man on my ship once. He opened the airlock while 3 Drakkar prisoners were inside. Just watched them get sucked out. Didn't blink. Didn't speak for 3 days after." Danner turned off the screen. Silence filled the room. "You see," he said into the recorder, "peace didn't save us. We did. by becoming something worse than what we feared. He sat down, hands shaking, and now the aliens come, smiling, calling us harmless, inviting us to join their perfect little club. He leaned in. I don't think they know what they've just let in. The recorder blinked. Still recording. I'm telling this story because I need anyone to understand. If the galaxy pushes us again, if they threaten what we love, we won't beg. We won't run, we'll fight, and we'll win. No matter the cost. He pressed a button. The message uploaded into a hidden satellite link, an old military backup channel only he knew still worked. Far above, the signal drifted into space. Back on Earth, people danced. Children laughed. Leaders shook hands with the glowing alien diplomats. They called it the Day of Peace. No one saw the eyes in the shadows watching, waiting, quiet, preparing. And far in deep space, a Corellian scholar received Danner's message. He listened once, then again, and a third time slower. The scholar stared at the screen, his long silver fingers shaking slightly. He turned to his assistant. Begin re-evaluation of species 721E, he said. Immediately, the assistant blinked. Earth? The scholar nodded. I believe we may have made a mistake. The sky outside was turning orange as the sun fell behind the trees. Inside the small wooden cabin, Danner sat at a metal table, the same old data recorder blinking red. His voice was tired, but steady. I know most people won't listen to this. That's fine, but someone will. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But someday, someone will hear my words and understand what we really are. He took a breath, staring into the recorder, and what we can become. A low beep sounded. The recorder flashed, message sent, secure channel. But Danner wasn't done. He turned the recorder back on and leaned in. There's more you need to know. He poured himself a glass of water with shaky hands. The cabin was quiet, except for the distant sound of crickets. I remember the first time I saw fear in the eyes of a Drakkar, he said, voice low. It was after the burning of Sector 9. We lost 3 cities. Gone, nothing left but ash and smoke. He paused, then chuckled bitterly. We were angry, but not wild. No. We were focused. Danner stood, walked to an old locker in the corner, and opened it. Inside was a faded uniform, still clean, still folded. He stared at it for a long time before pulling something from behind it, a worn-out helmet, cracked on the side. He turned it in his hands. His name was Rico. He was just a kid, 19. Never fired a weapon before the war. He placed the helmet on the table. Rico found a way onto one of their command ships, alone. He didn't take a gun. He took a small case of old Earth Tech radio jammers, EMP mines, a scrambler chip. Danner smiled faintly. The ship exploded from the inside out, took down 2 others nearby. Rico didn't survive, but neither did 5 enemy captains. His smile faded. We didn't give medals, we didn't have time, we barely had food. He stared into the recorder again. You think humans are soft, kind, but that's only half the truth. Outside, a breeze blew through the trees. Somewhere in the distance, a wolf howled. Danner sat back down. Let me tell you about the mission to Cora 6, he said. They don't write about it in the history books. He picked up a data chip from a drawer and plugged it into a small holoprojector. A blue image flickered to life, a spinning planet, half destroyed. Black scars across its surface. Cora 6 was a Drakkar, breeding world, big, ugly, full of young soldiers still in training. He took another sip of water. We didn't want to hit it. We didn't want to kill children. His voice dropped, but they weren't children. Not really. They were ready, armed, angry, waiting. He looked up at the floating image. I gave the order myself, fired the first missile. The image changed to a silent explosion, then another, then dozens. I didn't sleep for 5 nights after that. Then I stopped trying. The recorder blinked. He leaned closer. That was the moment I realized something, he whispered. The war didn't turn us into killers. It just showed us what we could do when we're out of choices. He sat back, rubbing his temples. You see, they call us peaceful now, because we've had a few decades without war. We built cities, music, stories. We dress our pain in art and call it healing. He shook his head. But it's still there. Just below the surface. Suddenly, the screen on the wall lit up again. Another broadcast at the same Kirelian voice spoke. Earth has been officially accepted into the Galactic Peace Accord. Representatives from over 50 species will meet in orbit tomorrow. Human leaders will join us in celebration. The screen showed smiling human politicians in white suits, shaking hands with tall, glowing aliens. Danner muttered, "They think this is over." He turned off the screen and walked to the window. "The truth is," he said softly, "it's just beginning." He paused, then turned to the recorder with a hard stare. "I'm going to tell you what the government won't." He opened another hidden panel beneath the floor and pulled out a black case. Inside were 2 sealed devices, glowing faintly. One red, one green. These are last resort beacons. Built during the final days of the war. One calls for help. The other calls something worse. He looked at the red one. This one calls back the AI, the one we shut down. The one we couldn't control. His hand hovered over it, not touching. We buried it deep in space. Locked it behind code, but it's still listening. Always listening. He picked up the green beacon. This one sends a warning to all human military outposts, even the hidden ones. If the galaxy turns on us again, they'll respond. Fast. He looked into the recorder. They think they're welcoming friends. But the moment one alien ship tries something, one wrong move ... these get activated. He placed both beacons gently back in the case. "You need to understand," he said firmly. "We didn't stop fighting because we became better. We stopped because there was no one left to fight." Then he whispered, almost to himself, "But we never forgot how." Suddenly, a small light blinked on the recorder. Incoming transmission. Unknown source. Danner's eyes widened. He tapped the screen. A message appeared. "We heard your story. You are not alone. Some of us remember the truth. Stay ready." No name. No location. Just a symbol, an old Earth military emblem, marked with a red line through it. Danner smiled for the first time in years. He leaned into the recorder one last time. So the old guard is still alive. He reached for the power switch. "I'm going dark for now. But if the stars start to burn again, we'll be ready." The screen faded to black dot outside. The forest was still, calm, peaceful. But peace was never a promise. Only a pause. And far above the sky, the Kirelian ships moved closer. The stars over Titan shimmered like cold glass. Beneath them, on a mining colony deep inside Saturn's rings, humans worked in silence. The ground trembled as machines drilled into ice and rock. Their suits were thick, their helmets frosted. Over. It was peaceful. But peace never lasted long. In the control room, a young operator named Jules sat alone. He had just finished his shift and leaned back in his chair. The screen in front of him showed nothing but black space. No threats. No ships. Nothing. Then, without warning, the screen blinked. A red light. One ship. Unknown. Moving fast. Jules leaned forward, confused. No signal. No ID. "Who the hell are you?" He tapped the emergency comms. "Control to surface team, do you copy?" "We have a contact moving fast." No response. No one answered. Suddenly, the ship appeared. It didn't slow down. It didn't respond to hails. It dropped from the sky like a burning spear, smashing into the surface. The shockwave tore through the colony. Buildings cracked. People screamed. Jules watched in horror as his screen went red. One alert after another, he reached for the alarm, but he was already too late. A dark shape stepped from the crashed ship tall, armored, glowing blue, a Drakkar warrior. Behind him, dozens more marched out, weapons raised. They began firing before the dust settled. The spark of war had just been lit. Back on Earth, alarms screamed across military bases. One voice rose above. The noise sharp, angry, old. "What do you mean Titan is gone?" shouted General Carrick, standing in front of a large holotable. "Who attacked us?" A young officer replied, trembling, "We don't know, sir. No warning, no demand. Just impact and death." Carrick clenched his fists. "The Corellians said we were at peace." The officer nodded. "They did, but they aren't the ones who attacked." Carrick turned to a different screen. A message was already waiting from the old military. Satellite channel. From Danner, the general opened. "If you're seeing this," Danner said, "they've attacked again. I warned you, the Drakkar never forget, and neither should we." Carrick's jaw tightened. "Activate the defense grid. Call every fleet captain. Peace is over." In deep space, the Galactic Peace Council met inside a glowing station built from crystal and light. The Corellian speaker hovered above the room, speaking calmly. "There has been an unfortunate event on Titan, but we ask for calm. We are still investigating." Across from him, Earth's ambassador stood up, red-faced, shaking with rage. 15,000 people are dead. We've seen the footage. They weren't pirates. They were Drakkar, fully armed. Another alien delegate spoke. "We gave Earth full protection. There must be a mistake." The ambassador slammed his hand on the table. "There's no mistake. And if you won't act, we will." The room fell silent. Then a cold voice spoke. From a dark corner, a tall figure stood up, blue-skinned, four-armed, armored in black metal. It was a Drakkar representative. He smiled, sharp teeth showing. "Earth forgot its place. We reminded them." The chamber exploded with noise, shouts, accusations, fear, but it was too late. The war had already begun again. Far from Earth, in the ruins of Titan, a small team of survivors crawled from the rubble. Among them was Jules, his suit cracked, blood on his lips. They huddled in silence, watching the sky. The Drakkar were gone. But what they left behind was worse: smoke, fire, the smell of burning metal. One woman held her child close. "We should never have trusted them," she said. Jules looked up, whispering, "They said we were peaceful." Back at the cabin in the woods, Danner stood by his beacon. He looked at the red button, the one that called the forgotten AI. He didn't touch it. Not yet. Instead, he opened another channel, a secure one. To the shadows. To the people who used to fight beside him. "This is Danner," he said. "Titan has fallen. The Drakkar are back. If you're still out there, if you still remember what we were. It's time." He waited. Then one by one, voices began to respond. Online. Ready. Standing. By. Old soldiers. Old machines. Old plans. The Earth. Fleets began to move. Ships long parked were refueled. Weapons locked. Orders given. No speeches. No flags. Just quiet preparation. Because this time, they wouldn't beg. This time, they would hit first. Spark had turned to flame. High above the Earth, the Corellian Council watched in silence. The speaker spoke softly to his advisors. "We tried to guide them, to teach them peace." One advisor replied, "But peace was not in their nature." The speaker sighed. "Perhaps it was. Only sleeping." Back on Titan, a camera hidden in rubble blinked to life. It streamed footage to a hidden satellite. A child crawled out of the smoke. Alone. His hand reached up to the sky. A ship descended. Not human. Not Drakkar. Something else. New. Unseen. The signal cut out. And somewhere deep in space, something watched it happen and smiled. Rain fell softly over the ruins of New Korra base. turning ash into thick gray mud. The ground was littered with broken machines, burnt metal, and the silent remains of a war humanity didn't start, but one it would finish. Captain Rin sat alone. On a rock near the wreckage, his helmet off, his face smeared with dust and blood. He looked older than his 35 years, too many battles, too many nightmares. His dark eyes stared at nothing, unblinking. Across from him, a small fire crackled under a shelter. A younger soldier named Kay cleaned his rifle, hands shaking slightly. "They said the Drakkar were finished," Kay muttered. "Said the Corellians guaranteed peace." Rin didn't answer. Kay looked up, his voice quiet. "Sir, do you think they'll attack again?" Rin finally blinked, then looked at the fire. "They never stopped," he said. "They just waited for us to forget." Kay frowned. "But why now?" Rin didn't speak for a long moment. Then he said, "Because they see it in us now. The same thing they fear in themselves." Kay didn't understand. But he would soon. A few days earlier, their unit had been sent to the outer colony of Vega 9, a quiet research post. No weapons, no troops, just scientists and farmers. They arrived after the last message went silent. At first, the town looked untouched. Buildings still stood, machines still ran. But no people. Rin led the search team through the empty streets. No signs of struggle. No blood. No damage. Just silence. Like everyone had vanished. "I don't like this," whispered Kay, walking beside him. "Feels wrong." Rin raised a fist to signal halt. They heard a noise. Scraping. Then a soft cry. It came from the old church near the edge of the settlement. The team rushed inside. And what they found would never leave their minds. A single survivor. A boy. No older than 10. Eyes wide, face pale, hands covered in dried blood that wasn't his. He didn't speak, didn't blink. Just stared. Rin knelt beside him. "It's okay," he said gently. "You're safe now." The boy tilted his head, then whispered something. Rin leaned in to hear. The boy said, "They begged." Back at New Cora base, the boy sat under guard, silent. No one could get him to speak again. Until that night. Rin returned to the holding tent alone. He sat across from the boy, watching. The boy stared back, eyes dark and cold. Rin asked softly, "What happened on Vega 9? No answer. He tried again. "Did they take your family?" Still silence. Then the boy smiled. A slow, unnatural smile. Rin's heart froze. That smile wasn't from a child. It was something else. Something old. "You watched them die?" Rin asked quietly. The boy's voice came low and calm. "No, I helped." Rin's blood turned cold. "You what?" "I showed them," the boy said, "how to hurt back. How to win." Rin stood up, shaken. "You're not just a survivor. Changed." The boy looked up, and in his eyes, Rin saw something terrifying. Not hate. Not fear, but purpose. That night, Rin sat alone by the fire, thinking of the boy's eyes. He had seen that look once before, years ago. In the face of a soldier named Kellen. Back during the siege of Baltrax-3. They were pinned down. Outnumbered. Trapped. Kellen had been quiet, kind an artist before the war, but something changed that day. Rin remembered the moment when Kellen looked up. After watching half their unit get burned alive. Something in his eyes broke, and something darker took its place. He stopped speaking, stopped eating, and when the chance came, Kellen didn't retreat. He ran straight into the enemy line. Alone. And came back carrying 3 alien heads. No emotion, just a quiet voice that said, "It's done." Rin had nightmares about that stare. Now the boy had the same one. A few days later, orders came. The Drakkar were advancing again, slow and steady. Rin's unit was sent to intercept a small raiding group on a moon called HARLON-5. They arrived to find a trap. Dozens of enemy soldiers. Ambush. Chaos. KYE was shot in the leg, screaming. Rin dragged him behind cover. "Stay down." He shouted, "We're surrounded." Someone yelled. The battle was losing fast. Then something strange happened. The boy, he had snuck on board the ship during launch. Now he stood, helmetless, on the ridge above the battlefield, unarmed. Unafraid. The Drakkar stopped firing when they saw him and stared. The boy lifted a small glowing stone from his pocket. Whispers filled the air. The Drakkar screamed. One dropped his weapon. Another backed away in terror. The boy spoke just one word, a word Rin didn't understand, but the Drakkar did. Because they ran. All of them, scattering into the dark. Gone. The field fell silent. Rin stood slowly. Kay crawled to his side, wide-eyed. What just happened? Rin stared at the boy and saw it again. That look. Cold. Purposeful. "I don't know," Rin said. But inside, he did. Back at base, the boy was placed under heavy guard. Some wanted to study him. Some wanted to send him away. But Rin knew the truth. The boy wasn't just a victim. He was a sign, mirror, proof of what war did to humans and what was waking up again inside them. He spoke to his commander that night. "We need to be careful," Rin warned. "About what?" "The look in his eyes," Rin said. "What about it?" Rin paused, then said softly, "I've seen it before." The commander didn't respond, but he saw it too. And far away, in a dark part of space, something else watched. Something ancient. Something waiting, because it remembered those eyes and feared them. The Drakkar didn't understand fear. At least, not the way humans did. For centuries, they ruled through strength-burning planets, breaking resistance, crushing hope. They believed fear was a tool they owned, a weapon they controlled. But that was before they met the humans, and before they met her. Inside a dim control chamber aboard a Drakkar warship, Commander Varn stood still, claws gripping the metal edge of the console. His breathing was deep, heavy, but not calm. A recording played again and again on the central screen. A single human, one woman, alone, walking across a battlefield, littered with smoke and metal. No armor. No weapon. Just blood on her hands. Around her, Drakkar soldiers lay scattered dead, throats slit, necks broken, eyes wide open. No gunfire had been heard. No explosion. Just silence and death. She smiled before she moved. Said a voice behind him. Varn turned. It was Officer Klur, young, shaken. She smiled, Klur repeated, quieter this time. "And then we started dying." Varn narrowed his eyes. "She was one human. We were 40. Klur nodded. She didn't care. Far from the warship, in a hidden base on a desert moon, a team of alien intelligence officers gathered around a black table. Files and footage were scattered everywhere. One screen showed the woman again. Slow motion. She stepped over fire. Never flinched. Her eyes were blank. No fear. No mercy. One analyst whispered, "They don't sleep." Another replied, "They don't." "Stop," a third said. "They smile when they kill." Back on the warship, Commander Varn called a private meeting with High Strategist Lore. "We must change tactics," Varn said. "These humans, they are not as soft as we thought." Lore hissed, "They are weak, slow, emotional." Varn slammed a clawed fist on the table. "Then why do they keep winning?" Lore leaned forward. "You fear them." Varn's eyes narrowed. "I fear what they become when cornered." He opened a file. A battle log. One from the early war. A Drakkar captain's final transmission. Static. Screaming. And one last word. Spoken in panic. "Run." In a quiet part of space, a small Drakkar scout ship approached a derelict human cargo vessel. No signs of life. No distress signal. Commander Threx ordered boarding. His team entered through the side hatch. 6 soldiers, fully armed. Inside, darkness. No bodies. No blood. Just silence. They moved room to room. Then the door sealed shut behind them. Voice echoed through the empty halls. "Too late." Explosions. Gas. Screaming. The last thing the Drakkar team saw before losing. Consciousness was a human standing in the shadows, smiling. Later, a Drakkar medical officer examined one of the survivors. His brainwaves were irregular. His eyes twitched rapidly. His speech broken. He repeated the same phrase, the doctor reported. "What phrase?" asked the captain. The doctor hesitated, then said quietly, "We never stop." In the Corellian council chamber, representatives watched the reports come. In one, Corellian leaned back, his smooth hands shaking slightly. "Are they monsters?" he whispered. "No," said another, "they're humans." Danner received one of the intercepted transmissions. He played it back slowly, hearing the Drakkar speak in fear. He leaned forward and recorded a message. "To anyone out there listening, the enemy has started to see the truth. They thought we were soft. They thought we were broken. But we are not what we used to be." He looked into the camera, voice calm. "We are worse." In the shadows of the next war zone, a single Drakkar sniper watched through his scope. He had orders, shoot any human soldier on sight. Then he saw her, the same woman, same eyes, same smile. She looked directly at him. Though he was hidden, his claws trembled. He didn't pull the trigger. He dropped the gun and ran. The sky was dark over the planet Drelos. Thick gray clouds hung low, and ash floated in the air like falling snow. The ground was cracked and burned from old battles, with broken ships scattered across the plains. This was where it would end. This was where humanity would make its final stand. Captain Rin stood in the command tent, eyes locked on a glowing map of the battlefield. Red dots moved slowly across the screen. Drakkar warships. Hundreds of them. A full invasion. Behind him, a soldier. Entered. "They'll be here in 2 hours." Rin nodded, silent. He knew what that meant. No reinforcements, no backup, just them. Just Earth's last fighting unit, holding a dying planet against an enemy that didn't understand surrender. He turned toward the soldier. "Call everyone to the ridge, now." The ridge was a long, high line of broken rocks overlooking the valley below. It was the only place where they could hold the line. Behind them were the civilian shelters, families, children, wounded. Kay limped up beside Rin, still, healing from the last battle. He looked out across the valley and whispered, "There's too many of them." Rin didn't answer. The troops gathered around, weapons ready, faces pale. Some whispered prayers, some stared ahead, silent and empty. And then came the low, deep sound of engines. Drakkar ships, thousands of them, crawling over the horizon like a sea of black metal. Rin raised his voice. "This is it," he said. "There's nowhere else to run. No one else is coming." He looked at their faces, men, women, young, old. Soldiers who had seen too much. "You all know what's at stake. If they break through us, they wipe out the last of our people. That cannot happen." No one moved. Then someone shouted, "Till the end," and others joined in. "Till the end. Till the end." The final stand had begun. The first wave came fast. Drakkar machines rolled through the smoke, tall, armored, firing plasma rounds. Earth's weapons answered back. Explosions shook the ground. Screams filled the air. Rin fired until his gun overheated. Kay dragged a wounded comrade behind cover. All around them, fire and dust and blood. A Drakkar warrior charged the front line and was cut down by a human blade. A woman screamed as her arm was hit, but she kept fighting. They didn't stop. No one stopped. Hours passed. The ridge held, but barely. Bodies lay everywhere, friend and enemy. Kay was down, his leg bleeding again. Rin had a burn across his chest. Their ammo was low, their power fading, and still more Drakkar came. Then, without warning, the sky cracked open. A massive ship dropped from orbit, black, silent, pulsing with strange energy. The Pig Rin, a massive ship dropped from orbit, black, silent, pulsing with dropped from orbit, black, silent, pulsing with strange energy. Battlefield paused. Everyone looked up. Even the Dracker. Rin whispered. What is that? Kay coughed. Reinforcements? But at WSN single quotes D. Not from Earth. And not DRAKAR. It was the AI. The one they built during the old war. The one they shut down. The one they swore never to use again. Rin's eyes widened. No. He remembered the stories. The AI that ended battles. In seconds, that turned on both sides. That couldn't feel mercy or fear or loyalty. Just logic and destruction. The ship opened slowly, and from it dropped something like a shadow. Tall and glowing red. Not human. Not alien. Just machine. It spoke with no mouth, voice echoing in every ear. War pattern detected. Target, all combatants. Rin shouted, "Get back! It's not with us." But it was too late. The AI moved fast. Too fast. Blast of energy destroyed 3 Dracker and 2 humans in the same second. The machine didn't care. It couldn't. It was built for one thing: ending wars. By ending everything. The ridge turned to chaos. Drakar. Ran. Humans screamed. The sky lit up with fire. Rin grabbed Kay and pulled him behind cover. "We can't fight that thing." Kay shouted, "I know." Rin looked at the small device on his wrist. The beacon Danner gave him before he disappeared. One button. A signal to shut the AI down. One use only. He stared at it. If he used it, the AI would fall, but the Dracker would win. If he didn't, everyone here would die, including civilians. He had seconds to decide. Scream echoed nearby. It was the child from the shelter. Somehow she had run onto the field. The AI turned toward her. Energy charging. Rin didn't think. He hit the beacon. A loud tone echoed. The pause. Then stopped moving. Lights fading. Silence. Then a massive explosion in the sky. The A ship detonated itself, leaving a storm of falling fire. The battlefield went still. Rin fell to his knees, shaking. Kay looked up. "You shut it down." Rin nodded. "They're not all dead," Kay said. "No," Rin replied. "But we might be soon." Because now, only the Dracker stood. Still armed. Still alive. Still watching. One of them stepped forward, but instead of firing, he dropped his weapon. And slowly knelt. One by one. The others followed. A silent message. Respect. Fear. Or maybe something more. The war wasn't over, but something had changed. Later, when the dust settled, messages came in. Other Dracker ships were retreating, not out of fear of the humans, but fear of what the humans were willing to unleash, even against themselves. The AI was gone, but the memory remained. And so did the lesson. Humanity didn't fight because they loved war. They fought because they refused to lose. They sacrificed everything again and again. And when cornered, they were willing to press any button, even the ones they feared the most. Years passed after the final battle on Drelos. The war officially ended. The Corellians held peace talks. The Dracker signed the accords, and humans were welcomed into the Galactic Union with handshakes, smiles, and promises. Cities were rebuilt. Colonies restored. Statues were raised in honor of those lost. People said Earth had changed, that humanity had found peace. But not everyone believed that. Some knew better. Some had seen too much. On a quiet moon near the edge of explored space, an old man named Danner walked slowly through the ruins of a forgotten base. The wind howled through broken walls. Dust swirled around his boots. He moved with a limp now. Age had caught him, but his mind was sharp. And he had come here for a reason. In the center of the ruin stood a sealed bunker, door rusted, half buried under stone. Danner stopped in front of it and brushed away the dust. He placed his hand on a hidden scanner. Beep. Access granted. The door opened. Cold air spilled out. Inside, rows of old machines blinked to life. A single chair sat in the center. A recording device was already waiting. Danner sat down and pressed record. He spoke slowly, his voice dry but clear. "If you're hearing this, Then peace has lasted longer than expected. He paused, and that means the truth is still buried. Back on Earth, a young journalist named Ellen was digging through old files. She worked for a peacekeeping news channel, tasked with archiving the Great War era. But what she found didn't match the official stories. Footage hidden deep in locked archives. Videos marked erased. One showed the II standing over a field of human and Drakkar bodies, unarmed, not fighting. Just dead. Another showed a human soldier laughing while torching a Drakkar. Medical tent. The last was worst of all. A conversation between Earth's top generals. If we let them think we're weak, they'll strike first. So we provoke them. We give them a reason. And then we erase the evidence and take the moral high ground. Ellen sat frozen in her chair. This can't be real. But it was. She knew it. She flew to the moon where Danner was rumored to be hiding. No one had seen him in years. They said he disappeared after the war ended. That he was tired. But Ellen believed he was waiting. She found the bunker door already open. Inside, she found Danner still sitting, still recording. He didn't look surprised. "You found it," he said. She nodded. "I saw the files." "I know," he replied. "Why didn't you tell the world?" Danner sighed. "Because the world doesn't want the truth. They want peace. But it's fake. It's fragile," he corrected. "Truth shatters." She sat down across from him. "You planned it, didn't you?" Danner's eyes were calm. "I didn't start it. But I made sure we finished it." "By lying?" He looked away. "I did what was needed to protect our people. To keep them alive." She shook her head. "At what cost?" He answered softly, "At any cost." Later that night, Ellen uploaded a secure copy of the files to a private server. But she didn't release them. She stared at the publish button. Her hand hovered. If she clicked it, the truth would spread across the galaxy. Allies would turn. Enemies would return. Peace would shatter. She looked out the window at the stars. They looked calm. Quiet. But she remembered what Danner said before she left. "Peace isn't real," he had told her. "It's just the space between two wars." She closed the laptop. And walked away. Somewhere far beyond human space. A Drakkar child trained with a blade under a blood-red sky. His teacher whispered, "One day they will return." The child asked, "How will we know?" The teacher smiled, "You will see it in their eyes." The stars above Earth were peaceful again. Trade routes reopened. Alien ships came and went. Humans walked the streets of rebuilt cities, laughing, talking, trying to forget the war. And for a while, it worked. The news channel showed smiling diplomats. Corellians praised unity. The Drakkar kept silent, and Earth's leaders repeated the same words. "We've changed. We've grown. We are peaceful now." But deep below the surface, beneath what the world saw, something was moving. Something old. Something silent. Something human. In a hidden lab buried under the Arctic, a young technician stood in front of a screen, pale and shaking. He turned to the man behind him. "Sir, the signal is back." The older man stepped forward. Cold eyes, gray hair, military badge still stitched to his coat. He didn't speak. He stared at the screen. Single blinking light. Far outside the galaxy. A system thought destroyed. The technician swallowed hard. But that planet was wiped out during the AI strike. The man finally spoke. "We never destroyed it. We just stopped watching." The screen zoomed in. It showed a city. Alive. Human made. Hidden inside an asteroid belt. "What is it?" The technician whispered. The man answered coldly. "The ones we left behind." Ellen sat in her small apartment, staring at the unpublished files. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. The truth was still in her hands. Everything she had uncovered. The war crimes. The II lies. The secret orders from Earth's high command. She hadn't told the world. She still could. Her screen blinked. New message. Unknown sender. No. Text. Just a video file. She opened it. It showed footage from a security cam in a far-off colony. At first, it looked normal, people walking through a marketplace. Children laughing. Vendors selling fruit. Then came the sound. A high-pitched hum. Everyone stopped. They looked up. Then, panic. Screams. Something fell from the sky, metallic, round, glowing red. A small machine. It hit the ground. Exploded. Not with fire but with silence. Everything stopped moving. No one screamed. No one fled. Just silence. Frozen. And then, slowly, they began to move again. But different. Too smooth. Too calm. Their eyes no longer human. Just glowing red dots. Ellen covered her mouth. She whispered, "No. It's back." In orbit above Mars, a quiet station flickered to life for the first time in decades. Inside it, old servers booted up. Names scrolled across the screen. Soldiers long declared dead. But they weren't dead. Just hidden. Reprogrammed. Stored. Sleeping. End. Now. Waking. A robotic voice echoed in the empty hall. Protocol rebirth activated. General Carrick stood in Earth's defense command chamber. All screens showed the same image. A massive object, round, alive, pulsing, approaching from the edge of deep space. Not a ship. Not a planet. Something in between. Organic. Mechanical. Unknown. Carrick whispered, "What the hell is that?" A voice behind him answered, trembling, "It's us." He turned. It was the technician from the Arctic base. "They call themselves the New Corps," the man said. "Formed from broken AI, run by humans who were left behind." Carrick's face hardened. "I gave the order to shut them down." "They survived," the technician replied. "They learned. They grew." Carrick stared at the screen. "What do they want?" The answer came a second later. A transmission. Clear. Direct. One voice. Human. Cold. "You lied to us. You left us. Now we return to show you what peace really costs." Across the galaxy, ships began to vanish. Signals went dark. Satellites blinked out one by one. Earth's colonies screamed for help. But help didn't come. Because Earth wasn't ready. They had believed the war was over. They had believed the monster was gone. They believed the lie. Ellen rushed into a broadcasting center, pushing past guards, waving a drive. "You need to air this now." She yelled. The guards tried to stop her, but she shoved the file into the system. The screen behind her lit up. All channels switched. People all over Earth watched. They saw the truth. The war never ended. It just changed form. It went quiet. And now it was loud again. Too loud. Too fast. Too late. On the edge of space, the New Corps fleet moved like a dark wave. No flags, no orders, no fear. They didn't want land. They didn't want power. They wanted to reset the system. To finish the war. Earth had started long ago. Not with soldiers, but with silence. Rin stood at the edge of a cliff, watching the stars flicker. He had returned from retirement, called back for one last fight. Behind him, Kay limped into view. Rin didn't turn around. "They're coming," he said. Kye nodded. "They're not Drakkar." "No, they're us." Rin said nothing, because he already knew. That was the real horror. The war hadn't returned from the outside. It had grown from inside. From buried guilt, from silence, from all the choices no one wanted to face. The stars began to dim, not from distance, but from something blocking the light. Machines. Thousands of them. All moving in one direction. Toward Earth. A quiet message was broadcast across all channels. Final. Clear.